Yeah, that was.
That was really ignorant.
Yo, bro.
No laughing.
No laughing.
We're not laughing with you.
Oh, you can.
We're laughing at
I don't know. Does he need any stuff with him? Maybe.
What are we doing?
Like a notebook? We're gonna meet in here instead of in the big room.
Okay.
And let's see. We need we got Eli night. Why do you keep looking at my watch? I don't know what. Yeah, da-da-da-da. My daughter says, I just paid you for things that I got at Target that weren't groceries. Perfect.
Well, there are a lot of things you can get at Target. That's great. And I don't
Show
necessarily
you
do.
her speech that she wrote. Oh,
Does it make you sad? I don't want to know, see it if it makes you
it
sad.
makes me feel like, I know it sounds super morbid, but like I could die today and everything would be fine.
Well, there you
I
go.
did my job as a parent.
That's pretty cool.
I know. I was like, oh my God. But I didn't have, like, I haven't fully had time to like embrace it. Right. Because it was like, it's just been zoom, zoom, zoom all day long. But I read it to Mike and at the end, he was crying. And I was like, I know, right? And then he went in and gave her a hug and a kiss. And I did the same thing. And she's like, what is wrong with you guys? And I was like, she goes, oh, I told you to read it when I was gone. So you just partially negated it, but whatever. But yeah, so good. Super bad with that. Okay, I told you a CMA, but now I can't remember who the CMA was for. Do you remember who we were supposed to do a CMA for? Or what that was?
I thought that's what we're doing for class or something.
Yeah, but I thought I had like a specific. Oh my God. I should have written it down.
I like that guy.
Hello, come on in here. Yep. I think we're waiting for one more. I think Eli, no, he might be on soon. I don't know. Oh, that's okay. Okay, Jason, Tom, Cassandra, Taylor, Amy, Molly, Shantia.
Yes,
You don't even.
there's Andrea.
Hello, Andrea.
I saw she,
Yeah,
and then their thing was the other girl,
the other girl.
Cassandra,
Yes. Okay.
Taylor.
Yep. Amy. Molly. Middle. Who's in the middle?
Dude,
Tom. There we go. Got it.
got to do the Brady Bunch, Andrea, to figure it out. Who
was
is
that?
here in the Zoom?
There was a lady, a lovely lady.
Exactly what I'm
That's
saying.
Right.
I thought I made Matt Murdock and these guys here. We're gonna select a bulk action. We're gonna give them tags.
I got a pretty bunch in my head.
The Brady Bunch.
Come here, up, up.
Student acknowledgement. download.
I think that's just paid, that's like the very first one. It's just a letter that they have.
How she
Oh,
knows.
she
Hello,
won.
sir.
Yo, yo, yo.
How'd your appointment go?
Really good.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
What do you got, buyers or sellers?
I have a seller in Ramsey.
He wanted to go as far away as possible.
Yep.
Going out. Okay, so I think everybody's here. So, and you guys were able to do the module 2, right? Called the blueprint. Oh, I see what you're doing. I was like, what are we doing? Okay, so the first thing, like in those, like number 1, it said, what's your goal you intend to achieve by the end of this course? Instead of this course, we're gonna say 2022, right? So it's like your year-long goals, right? So, so mine was, I want to build a fund to take my family to Spain. I want to leverage my business so that I'm not the one running around doing everything. That's pretty much what I want to do. So what did you guys come up with that you want to, goals that you want to achieve by the end of 2022? It can be like a dollar amount, number of houses, you know, it can be whatever. It doesn't have to be anything specific, but do you have one, Jason?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up
Okay.
while everybody else is thinking.
And then I'm just gonna take notes on what you guys tell me.
Start.
Yeah. You want
Okay,
to?
yeah, I can start. I didn't do for 2022, but I can add that to it. Just gain a better understanding of just transactions and all the paperwork and all that fun stuff. And then I'd like to have at least 10, closings.
Okay.
I think is a good goal. I don't know what dollar amount that translates into, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
For 2022.
Okay. Command mastery. Connect. Oh, it's up
Well,
there
my
too.
year goal
Oh
is
my
up
God.
there at the
Oh my
top.
God. Okay, be the, what? The dot?
Yeah, Director of Technology.
Oh, I'm like, what does that mean? Be the director of technology that sets the standard for the market center and the region. Nice. That's awesome. Figure out how to do my job.
That's a really good
It's my
one.
12-week goal. My first
Super-
12 weeks is
super
how do
good.
I figure out just how do I do my
What
job?
am I doing? Right? So yeah, this is, we do these and I have these up for all of you guys. So this one, we call it GPS. So it's goal, priority, strategy. And you know what a GPS is, right? But basically you have 1 priority, 2, 3, and then you go in order of how to complete that. So like 1 would be the first thing I need to do is this. And then the next thing I need to do is that. So you're putting it in like a chronological order. And it's really the best way to organize what you want to do because it is on one sheet, right? And Gary Keller always talks about the fact that companies have these giant business plans and they're like a giant binder. And it's like, who looks at that then? You don't look at anything, right? So if it's on one page like this, and then do you have your 411 too?
No.
Okay, so then after this, what you do is you break it down even further into a 411, which is four months.
Then
Yeah, it's one year, 1 month, 4 weeks, right? It breaks it down into each individual day, what you're doing. And so we'll get into that a little bit later, but starting out of like what is the overarching goal that you want to do? So Jason wants to, 12 weeks, he needs to figure out how to do his job, right? I mean, I feel like you guys are kind of in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
Figure out how to do your job,
For sure.
right? What is my job? So, all right, do you have any other details on yours?
I don't. have
Okay.
the first one now.
Okay. How about you, Eli?
So I did this like a month ago. and I'm
Okay.
trying to find the document right now.
Okay,
So if you want to skip me while I
Sure.
find.
Mine's in my head.
okay,
We came over a number of 1.7 transactions per month to get to where I want to be. And
Mhm.
right now, that sounds like very lofty, kind of overwhelming, but that's would be my plan for 1.7, 2 transactions a month. And I guess, yeah, just try to be the best new agent I could be. I mean, what would separate, somebody picking somebody that's been doing this for 10 years versus a new person? Kind of, I guess, yeah, just kind of hone the craft.
okay. How about you, Andrea?
My first one was more sales specific. I had 10 closings as well by the end of the year. And then to grow and groom my database, and then to be a well-oiled, confident machine by the end of the year.
Wow.
Nice.
I recommend olive oil. It's far more nutritious than most of the other oils.
I was thinking coconut.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that's hot, that there are some like other issues with coconut oil that might make it more challenging. So you have to,
I'll have to look into that.
The,
like, it's got too much like lectins or something. I'm
well,
not-
olive oil is, it can't get too hot. Smoke.
Oh.
It's a very, like if you make popcorn with it,
Oh,
it's smoking all over the place.
Ah,
Versus what, like canola?
Yeah, like some other oil, but so my
Lot
kids are
of
like, what are you
lectins.
doing? It's just, what's smoking over there? I'm making popcorn with olive oil, people, calm it down. Okay, grow database. Okay,
Eli, you found a phone?
I did not.
well, when we did your economic model, right? Did we do that backwards? And we said like a
Yeah.
dollar amount?
Yeah, so my dollar amount that.
And we will do that
my
soon.
goals.
Okay.
So that you
Um,
know what I'm talking about.
So it says estimated total GCI $74,000.
And what's the net?
Profit goal 35,000.
There we go.
So I have a West GCI?
Gross commission income.
Okay.
So that is before you
Before your expenses.
For everything.
pay anything out, yeah.
dues, your-
Split,
Yes.
before you split too, yeah.
Okay.
Anything.
And I'm putting you down, Jason. Know my job.
That is not my 12, that's not my goal. My goal is
DOT,
to be the big, to
best,
be the boss dot.
best dot
What I wrote a month ago,
goat, greatest of all time.
I just found the
Dot.
Sure.
The main goal I'd like to achieve is by the end of this course, to gain confidence in everything that I do. In real estate, through practice by having goals with a great blueprint to achieve them.
Good. Okay. Okay, so then we'll just go around the same way. So the context, what's happening around you that will impact you? Example would be like world events, job, schedule. So
Affecting our goal.
yeah, how is it gonna affect you? Like what's going on? Some people said, well, I have another full-time job, right? Like me, family, right? Another person like Grace, she works at the front desk. So that was another one of hers, like, doing that. So what would you guys say would be stuff that is gonna impact
life?
I'd almost say myself, like, what do you say, where you say no to yourself? Trying to work on that, you know,
Mhm.
that's a big thing, having an independent business or being
Right.
a self-starter. It's always like a hard part for me.
Yeah, that's definitely my main thing. I do have another job, but I only work there in the mornings on days that I'm needed. So typically it's once a week, maybe 2-3 times in the week, but I only work there till 12.
What if we said lack of established habits?
That's good.
Yep,
Because that's,
Mhm.
that also puts it in a solvable
yep.
Yeah.
or prescription for what we have to do to fix it. There's a lot of things that would get your way. Like for me, I would absolutely say I have a part-time job. I don't have full, I mean, I have a part-time job that's gonna get in the way of that.
Mhm.
And part-time job is selling houses. So, but the neat thing also, I mean, you look at anything anyway, right? And that's part of what this exercise is about, right? Part-time job though also helps me learn what people need to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have a vested interest in learning how to do something because it can also benefit me beyond my normal sense of lives.
I'd say that's the same for me too, because if I'm not in production and have a business, I don't know what you guys are going through. I'm not like actively doing it and being like, oh my gosh, I tried this and this really worked, or, you know, watch out for that or whatever, right?
It's a weird balancing act.
It is, which is why in my thing, I said I need to leverage it because I can't do both well. I have to pick one. And so then the one I love is the coaching, and then the business part, you know, which is why my goal is to leverage out the business to the PC agents, right? And then have it be, then we have the biggest team in the office, right? Because we have a lot of agents in PC. So, yeah. So, Jenny, what do you think?
My biggest one is because pretty much been a stay-at-home mom for 24, 23 odd years.
Mhm.
Really, my children, grandchildren, I mean, I'm always last priority, so they always come first, husband or
Mhm.
everybody else. I do
Mhm.
everything for everybody. So doing this for myself and making, you know, a successful business, putting that,
Mhm.
where does that go on the priority list? I feel like I'm not,
Right.
you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
because they're always the priority above and beyond everything.
Yeah. And that's what Thomas was saying. We were talking about it the other day where if you say yes to somebody else, you're saying no to you. And at what point do you just have to be like, dude, this is my schedule, even if it's your kid, right? Like I had to do it to my kid today. I'm like, this is my schedule. I'm not talking to you on the phone right now. Like you're calling me and I'm not talking to you, but I have a question. I'm like, I don't care, right? Because I am in a meeting and I have to get, right? But that's the thing is if I say yes to her, then I lose track of where I am. I'm in the open house class. Then that's a waste, right?
Mhm.
And so then I'm not learning what I need to learn or hearing what I need to hear. And it just ends up to be, I mean, and that's where that's what they were saying is it's hard to say no. And when you have that schedule where you're like, that's what we're doing, right?
There's research out there that if you get focused on a task and you receive a text, it will take you 17 minutes to get back to the level of focus you had prior to the text.
Oh my God.
There are people out there, many of them in this office, who get texts more than every 17 minutes. So you are never achieving an optimal level of focus. Anybody who tells you they can multitask, all they're really doing is switching between two tasks. They are not multitasking. They are literally switching between two tasks at a lower focus percent.
Right.
It is not the way your mind works. You can convince yourself that that's the way you think your mind works. But the reality is you will not be as effective with the same amount of time on the singular task as you are even with twice the amount of time spent on two.
Which is why we say it's so important to be here in person, Because if you're in person, I mean, but even still, like in meetings, like we have with John, the team leader, he doesn't allow us to bring our phones to leadership meetings because, you know, people are like, oh, I got this, you know, and I no, you're not stepping out. You can take an hour and just focus on what we're talking about, right? And that's the same thing as if, you know, if you're on a Zoom, it's easier to be like the dog just walked that way, right? Like, oh yeah. Andrea, he's doing push-ups right now on the floor.
Dude, I will tell you,
Miss Annette,
every
going.
single.
Prove it.
If I'm at my house, I will get up and end up doing push-ups because people start driving me crazy. And I'd never do that in a room with real people,
Except for now.
but you know, oh my God, what is that guy talking about? Camera off, push-ups. It's actually good for your fitness routine.
But it's, you know, that's the thing is like, that's the book, The One Thing, right? And when you read that, that's what they talk about is it's a farce that you can do many things well. You can do one thing well. Because think if you're, this is my example always, like think if you're driving down the road, and you're like, God, I'm so hungry. I got to stop and get something to eat. Like you get a burger, like you can do that. Okay, I want you to get a salad. I want you to eat a salad while you're driving down the road. You're going to get Yep, you're going to get in a car accident.
I don't do that.
No, nope, like for sure, you're not doing that, right? So why are you trying to, you know, why are you trying to have a meeting with somebody and then you're like looking at your phone? And I have a coach who we do Zooms and I can see in her glasses, I can see her phone. And I said to her on Tuesday, I was like, are you texting right now? She's like, I am.
Because I've been caught.
She goes, and thank you for holding me accountable. I was like, yeah, put your phone down, right? Because I'm paying you to be my coach. Like, I don't need you texting somebody, right? And so it's the same accountability that you need to have for yourself, right? So if you're in a class, like you shouldn't be like going through emails or whatever, because what are you really getting? And I've taught classes in there and there'll be agents who are top 20 agents. They are totally not plugged in. They're on their phone, they're like, whatever, they're, you know, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, they're plug in or go work, right?
And to be fair, I mean, that is where we're at in society.
Yes.
Society is, I mean, that's a norm state for people. And in
Mhm.
fact, at some level, if you're not doing two things, you're not busy. And it's important to be busy.
Right.
That's like the worst thing you want to be, is busy. That's a garbage place to be,
Right.
is busy. Productive? Sure. Busy? No. Don't be busy.
Right. They talk about, they call them star real estate agents, right? And they're like, oh yeah, you know, like, well, my office is here. And then I had to go up here to do like a listing presentation. And then I had to go pick up a lockbox. So then I went down here. And then I had to, you know, and they're like going all over the place and it makes a star. And they're like, how efficient were they? They weren't, right? They were all over the place. And so that's the same thing with the time blocking. It's like plan it out so that it makes sense. And if somebody says to you, I want to see this house like in 20 minutes, do you have that time blocked in your schedule to go show them a house in 20 minutes? No, it's lead generation. So you're like, I am not available then. And the thing is a lot of times new agents are like the scarcity mindset. Well, I have to just drop everything and go help them right now because that's what they said they wanted to do. Like, do you do that to your doctor? I need to get in now, right? And that's not a thing, right? So I think that's the other thing is you guys have to value your time and then adhere to whatever schedule you have. What's something that impacts you?
It sounds corny, but I'll absolutely throw out the seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah. Yes.
Not a fan of the winter. I hate it.
Yep.
To set my mind right, I like to be outside. It's
Mhm.
not coincidence that I'm wearing hiking shoes to work every day. I can't wait for a day where I'm just going, nope, F all y'all. And I'll go outside, you know what I mean? But that's
Right.
where I clear my head. And if I don't do that, things just stack up. And
Yep.
this time of year, it's zero. I mean, I can go outside, done it. I'll go out and do stuff this time in this temperature. I don't enjoy it.
Right.
And that kind of robs the whole point of even doing it. If I'm out there and I'm doing it and it's not fun, then I'm not really getting anything out of it. So, you know, why do I live where the air hurts my face? Great question. So that's why, like, the 10-year GPS involves not living here in the winter.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just a fact.
Right,
It's not
right.
a thing for me. I don't want to be here at that time of year. And I want to live somewhere where they shovel my driveway for me or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
every year, at some point during the winter, I go, this is it. This is the last time I'm doing it this year. And it might be December 3rd.
Right, right.
And heaven forbid we get any more snow, because it's just gonna pile up, because I'm not doing it this year. And,
Right.
you know, so, I mean, that's something that I would absolutely throw out there. Like most people in, well, I guess this half of the room, if my kids need something, I'm dropping. Everything's getting dropped. Everything's getting dropped. That is A1 priority in my life. And if that was the only thing that happened that day is I solved A1 priority, then that's the best day I've had in a long time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's something that can get in the way of that.
Yeah.
Luckily, over time, I have created a place where these are things and they understand,
Sure.
you know, I have time blocked out them. They know that this is when I'm working and this is when I'm available to do
Mhm.
these sorts of things. But if it's an emergency, it could happen at any time, and the emergency is going to take precedence.
Right, right.
We've just had to define what emergencies were at one point in time in their lives.
Yeah, like today's emergency with my daughter was she needed me to pay for half of her shoes.
Right.
Not an emergency.
It's not an emergency to bring you a pair of pants.
Nope, for sure not. Or your
Well, wait
musical
a second.
instrument that you forgot
Based on what you just told me, it is an emergency for me to bring you a pair of pants, and I'm on the way.
because you don't have any.
Well, things happen.
Oh, Andrea, what would you say would be an impact for you?
I would say kind of my biggest one would be health, physical kind of and mental. Physical, I have a couple GI conditions, so it could be any given day where I just like my stomach is just not having it, and you know I don't get as much like work done or something. And as clearly shown, I don't have the best immune system. And then mental, I think like already was mentioned, is kind of I'm like my own worst enemy sometimes. Like if I'm too much in my head, or if I'm like feeling like too stressed or something. So it's basically just like trying to find ways or like meditation or however to just kind of take that time for myself or time block time for myself and then that way I'm able to get to the rest of my work.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. How about people? So who is around you that will support you? We'll start with that one. You guys just, we'll do this as they say in elementary school, popcorn share, just everybody share. It's like popcorn, just popping.
Well, I'll say the first thing, and you guys is where you're at in your place may not know this yet, but the best place to get help is right here in this office anytime. You can walk down the hall at just about any time, knock on somebody's door and say words. And then the magic words that come back can be fantastic.
I'm gonna walk into your office one day. I'm just gonna be like, words.
Words, 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 but. You
Words.
said but.
What I wrote down was, I have my family and all my friends to support me, and definitely the KW team. If I'm struggling with something or stressed out about something, I have a hard time reaching out. One thing I need to learn is to start reaching out for help when I need it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes people think like, oh, I can figure this out.
Yeah, that's I kind of on that same lines, where I'll try to figure it out myself when I could have figured it out if I just asked before.
Yeah.
I get frustrated and then go ask.
Right.
I will toss out an interesting lesson I learned in the course of my life. And I generally really do like to help people. I like to help people succeed. I found that that's something that really brings me value. And I've talked to a lot of people who feel the same. And I was having a conversation with one of them, and he said, how come you never come to me for help? I said, I don't ask anybody for help. I mean, I don't. Just don't. And he goes, but you feel good when you're able to help somebody else, right? I said, yeah. Why are you denying everyone around you the opportunity to feel good by helping you? And it's one of those moments where you're like, wow,
Right.
I am literally cheating people who care about me out of an opportunity to feel good. Why would I do that? I mean, and so I've learned that a lot of times just to foster or create a relationship, if I don't have a problem, I'll make a small one. You know what I mean? I won't make it, but I mean, I'll ask somebody a question like, hey, how are you doing this? I already have an answer and I'm doing it fine, but on the other side, maybe they give me a whole new perspective that I never considered. Like, why are you cheating the people around you out of letting you feel good? You know, why are you doing that?
Right.
And it's like, wow, that is a yes.
Right.
Why am I
It's a
denying the ability of other people to bless me?
Totally different way of thinking about it. Good point. Who else wants to share?
And I got, just my husband's always been my biggest supporter in my family. And what the biggest distractions is clearly wanting to be there for my family at all times, like
Yeah.
no matter what, like
Right.
that, like I know that's
Right.
gonna be the theme
Right.
of everything. Like no matter what it is, big and small, you know, mama's here. So,
Obviously, you're in a different place in this early part of your journey, but most people would say their family and their friends are their biggest supporters, right? And that's cool. I mean, that's the way it should be.
Mhm.
And then when you say something like, all right, you should call 10 of your friends and get their email addresses, you're like, I don't know if I want that.
Right.
Are they your biggest supporters or are they not?
yeah.
I mean, and the answer
Yep.
is they are.
Yep.
They
Absolutely.
absolutely are. You were
Yep.
right. But now your other
Mhm.
talk track is telling you that you're not. And that's the talk track. You got to hear that sound and go, you aren't in charge here. I'm in charge, right? If you believe that your friends and family are your biggest supporters, they are. You're
Right.
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 Let them support you.
Yeah, I hear that so much. Oh, I don't want to bother them.
It's crazy.
Well, how are they going to know you're doing real estate then?
It's absolutely upside down, but every real estate agent
Mhm.
has somebody in their contact list who is their friend, they don't call. Even if they're supposed to call somebody every 3 months, part of the plan, 4 calls a year,
Yep.
quarterly calls, I don't call that one. Why? And there's some iffy, weird story about
Right.
why they don't call them.
Right.
Why are they in there? Either they're
Right.
in there or they're not.
Call bias.
It's easier to call a stranger than it is to call that person.
Mhm.
It is. It is.
Yep.
But it shouldn't be.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that's the other question is who's around you that may distract you? And then who do you need around you that you may not have yet? So, yeah. So who distracts you? Everybody in this office distracts me. Like in a good way, like, and if I don't shut my door and I'm supposed to have a meeting with somebody, like, right? And like Eli and I were supposed to have a one-on-one at 1:00, but I was still at the restaurant with Thomas and the lender. And I'm like, I gotta go. And then he's like, oh, how about you? You know, and I was like, yeah, I actually, he's like, isn't it easier now that you have an admin and like she's helping you out? I was like, yeah. And I'm supposed to be in an appointment right now. So I have to go. Right. But I didn't say it early enough so that I got back so that I could meet you on time. Right. And that's the thing is like, it just, and that can happen to you guys. Like if you're on the phone, and you're talking to somebody and you're like, okay, I have these 10 people I got to call in an hour. Right. And half an hour goes by and you're still on the phone with number one. And you're like, oh my God. Right. And so that can be a form of distraction, right? A lot of times people have a script where they're like, all right, this is a business call. And, you know, and then if they start going into stuff, then it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to catch up with you. Let's schedule coffee, right? Like just get them off the phone, end it. Because you don't have to,
Get out of there.
you don't have to talk to your
It's
friends,
like that Minnesota goodbye, you know?
right?
You know, yeah, that was my problem. It's like, connecting with all these people I guess I've talked to in a couple
Right.
years, and
Right.
I never thought of, yeah.
Yeah. And if you start out
Shut
with,
it down.
hey, yeah, right, it's a business call, I just, calling to check in with you, and you know what, I would love to catch up with you and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable to have that, to be like, I called you and now I'm hanging up. It's done. But it can totally be a distraction. So what else do you guys have for distractions or people that you need around you? And Andrea, you can share as well with any of those.
For distraction, I put my dogs.
Okay.
Sometimes, if they're whining, or, just a simple distraction like that. And then I'm thinking about myself. Sometimes I'm just my own kind of distraction if my mind kind of focuses somewhere else. Who I need around me, you guys, obviously, KW agents, and then obviously my support team, my family, and my friends, my biggest fans. So
Yeah. Awesome.
I have a distraction. I call them fire drills. They're people who appear at my door and they say, my printer doesn't work. And that's a legit thing. It's part of my job at some level, but if I'm trying to work on something, they just crop up right in the middle of whatever it is you're doing. And suddenly it's time to go, assess, is this the emergency?
Right.
Are you the person writing my check? Right? I gotta be honest with you, if we're talking and Olivia shows up and says, I need you to do this, hey bud, you're out, right?
Right.
But, knowing where your bread is buttered at some level too, is part of that thing. And it's a tough thing on the other side where we talked about where it's a client and the client calls you and says, I want to go do this. What do those boundaries look like in exploring that? But on the other side, when they're not a client, what are the boundaries? Where are those things? What does that look like? Hey, cool, I will fix your printer in 25 minutes because that's when my appointment's done.
Right.
Or let me send you my Calendly link and you can set up a time to come chat with me.
Yeah, absolutely. How about mindset? So are you prepared to succeed? How will you approach this next year? And how will you recommit if there are unexpected setbacks? And instead of saying if, we can just say when, because there's going to be unexpected setbacks, right? Like they just happen. So I think that's always an interesting one. Are you prepared to succeed?
You know that in reality, most people are not. Most people are not prepared to succeed. So for example, I'm looking through my contact list and what if all these people don't want to do this? Why would you ask that? Why wouldn't you ask, what if they all want to? I'm not looking at this from a success standpoint. I'm looking at it from a failure standpoint. I'm afraid of failure. What would happen? What would I have to do if everyone on my contact list wanted to sell a house? I've actually sat down with an agent who said, I'm not sure, we talked about what a 36 touch plan. Well, if these people start calling me, I don't know if I have time to help them all. Okay. What would happen then if you started referring them to people and just got 25% for referral fee?
Yeah.
Would that be terrible? Well, but what if they really want to work with me? Okay, we have a fear of success, not a fear of failure. We literally have a fear of success. What if this actually worked? What if I did the thing that they're telling me and it worked? Is more often what we're afraid of than if it didn't.
And why do you think that is?
Because if we were to just become successful by doing what people suggested, what about all of the suggestions in our past that we've been given that we've been ignoring? I mean, what if I wanted to lose 20 pounds and the guy said, all you got to do is eat broccoli every day and you'll be fine? I don't really like broccoli. Right. What? Do you really want to lose 20 pounds? Or do you want to eat what you like? Right? I mean, it's a question. And we're afraid of the fact that what this person is telling us is true and it might be uncomfortable. It's harder than what we're doing now. but we're afraid of the fact that they might actually be right. And I have to invest myself in doing something that's hard and difficult. And then it turns out to be right. And probably you knew all along what the right thing was to do, but you've been ignoring your own
Mhm.
best interest. I've been saying no to myself
Yes.
all through the time. And if I do this, it will expose to myself
Mhm.
that I am a fraud.
Right. And that's a yucky feeling.
But but it's only because we're approaching it from a place of scarcity.
Yes.
It's
right.
not, look, I wasn't ready for that lesson today. Or I wasn't ready for that lesson yet at those times. Now that the lesson has been exposed to me again, I mean, nobody learned, most people don't learn anything the first time through.
Right.
Just hop on a bike and ride away. You fall down a few times. That's just the nature of life's path. But if you are afraid of, and look, every kid out there who learns to ride a bike sees some other kid, mostly ends up seeing some other kid do it first and goes, all right, I want to ride the bike because that looks really fun. And then they do it, right? Because
Right.
they just don't want to be left out anymore. But the whole time, there's been this weird fear of success that has kept them from actually doing it.
Isn't that so weird? Like the mind is
Your mind is upside down. It
right.
is upside down.
And that's
because
why-
how we're conditioned.
Right. And that's why we cover mindset all the freaking time. Because it's, until you believe you can do it, it doesn't even matter. And we always talk about it's the 6 inches between your ears. Like that's what's people are like, what's the problem? What's the problem? It's like, you are.
I am.
You're the problem. And like when you guys say like, who's getting in your way? You are, right? That's so accurate. And once you're ready to, like get over that, that's a turning point.
That's when you really start making the change.
Mhm.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday. I forget which one it was, but it said that to get all the dumb and negative thoughts out of your head and keep them separate from you. So just write them down on a piece of paper. And a lot of people said like that helps. So I'm just starting to do that to see if that, works. But I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I've actually challenged in one-on-ones, I've challenged a lot of agents. I say, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to like this, but I want you to get out a journal, a piece of paper, a notebook or whatever. And I want you to write down what you tell yourself. And then when we meet again, I want you to read it to me. And I talked to one and she was like, I'm like, what? She's like, okay, I don't want to do that. Another one said, okay, I'm probably going to cry. I'm like, it's totally fine. Because I need to hear what you're telling yourself so I can help you get over that. Because, you're not, it's going to be hard to do it on your own. Right. And then you see that and you're like, Jesus, why am I telling myself that? But also like, if I tell Jason, this is actually what I'm telling myself, what's he going to do? Why are you telling yourself that? Right. Like,
Well, I'm probably not, because that's not what I'm saying.
okay, what are you going to say to me?
I'm going to say, let's talk through some of these, because what you have to do is when you hear this voice, you have to have a talk track ready to talk
Right.
to yourself. Because if you had a person in your life who was talking to you this way,
Yeah.
you would cut them out of your life.
Mhm.
You would cut that person. There's no way you would hang around a person who talks to you like you talk to yourself. So you can't cut yourself out.
Right.
So we need to talk about what does that sound like when the I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, and gosh darn it, people don't like me's come up. Because those things do come up. And, I'll be honest with you guys. We have a group that meets every other Wednesday, the opposite Wednesdays of the team meeting, called Connectors. It happens at noon. And mindset is a huge part of that group that we talk about. And how do we set things in a particular way, or how do we deal with certain mindsets or stresses or things like that. We go quite a bit further in that group, but there's so much. Mindset is the biggest challenge. And our own negativity, you have to be able to name it and understand it and then be able to address it so that when you say, my friends aren't gonna want to hear from you. Why would your friends not want to hear from you? I mean, that's all an internal monologue that is about a fear and it's a real fear of rejection and being an imposter and that you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, those are real fears. I mean, right there, figure out how to do my job. Since I've been doing this job, there's not a single person come to me and go, do you not know how to do this?
Right. They're so glad that you know more than they do.
And I don't.
Right, but they think you do.
Right? But I know that. And so my talk track is, you don't really know much of anything. And how in the world can you possibly talk to another person about how to do something that you literally had to look up 10 minutes ago and watch a video on in order to be able to do this? Well, you know what? That is what they're asking me to do.
Yep.
They don't have time to do that.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
I have the time
Exactly.
to learn it. And that's
Yep.
the talk track. Every time it comes up that I think that, what right do I have to walk in this room and explain that to a person? It's not about a right. They've asked
Right.
me to do some research for them and I've taken the time to do research.
Yep.
And now I'm prepared to tell them about it.
Yep.
And that talk track I now have in place when that voice comes in,
Yep.
I have a talk track to address it,
Mhm.
right? Why would my friends don't want to hear from me? I have never had a phone call with my friend who said, what are you calling me for? Never, I mean, I have actually. I have had that call, but it's a completely separate kind of call. You know what I mean? I've called up every person in my call list and said, hey, how's it going? They go, cool, man. Are you doing that real estate thing now? They're excited to talk to me about it. They're driving the conversation. And I'm like, why was I afraid to do this? So now when that thought comes up, every person I've called is super enthusiastic. Why am I worried about that?
Right.
And if that person is a jerk, I can cut them out.
Right. Done.
So writing those things down to have some thoughts about what does that talk track sound like is super useful. It is one of the best ways to combat your own internal monologue. And you're going to have it. No one is immune to that. No one's immune.
Yeah. The interesting thing was, so I told this agent, this is what I want you to do. And then they sent me a message and said, yeah, I was thinking, I used to, like, I'm always open about the fact that I see a therapist, right? And she's like, I used to see a therapist, and I was thinking, yeah, you should go back and see a therapist because you're pretty messed up. And then she stops herself and goes, well, now why did you say that? Like, you're not messed up. And she goes, it was like 10 seconds. I go, oh, that really helped me because you have a lot of problems, right? And so she's like, God, it's just super, it's just the way that her brain goes, right? So it's like retraining it that's not how we're gonna say it, right? But yeah, and being able to verbalize it and then know what is that other tape you're gonna play, right? And what's that gonna sound like? So yeah, write that down, guys. And it'll be for our one-on-one. Like when we have our one-on-ones, that's what I'm going to ask you is, what are you telling yourself? Right. Because like this next one, it talks about, messages. How will you know what to focus on? What's most important for you to learn? Is it a skill? Test info mindset, right? It always comes back to those things. And, we talk about that a lot, that, in real estate, there's the skill, right? Is the writing the contract, right? And like your thing, Jenny, was to get better understanding of paperwork, etc., right? And so then what the fun thing that Jason and I kind of, I don't know, thought of, right, was you guys need to have a client so that you can do the paperwork.
Yeah.
to understand how to do it. It doesn't matter how many classes we teach about how to do the paperwork or what you have to fill out. Because if you don't have a person, you're not going to fill out any paperwork, right? And when you had a client, you were like, here we go. This is what I need, right?
Mhm.
And you can't, like, it's like you're getting ready to get ready, and then I'm gonna get ready a little bit more, and then I'm gonna get ready. And oh my God, I've been doing this for 6 months. I don't even have a person, right? And so that's why we want to focus more on this and be like, okay, what is your mindset? Where are you at? And we want to teach you the scripts that you need to use so that when you're talking to people, you're comfortable, right? Because you don't want to be in that mindset of, "Oh, they don't want to hear from me. Like, I'm not even gonna call them. I'm gonna do, you know what, I'm gonna make super common. I'm just gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna text them. I'm gonna use Facebook."
I think the funny thing is we focus this is true even in the retail environment, people get focused on the mechanics, like the paper. What do I write on the contract? And that's all fine. You need enough to be dangerous.
Mhm.
But the real thing, if you want to talk about knowledge, you do need to set a piece of knowledge. There's an important part of the piece of knowledge. We don't like to deal with that piece of knowledge. And that is, all right, when I call this human being, what am I going to say?
Yes.
I don't want to role play that. I want to practice on the customer because it's uncomfortable for me to practice with another human being before I make a call. So that's the part of knowledge that you do need, right? And I mean, I know that, you know, both of us, Eli and Thomas, we've talked about, when I make this call, what do I need to get? And what am I going to say to get it? And that's a piece of knowledge that we aren't thinking about. We're thinking, well, what if they have a well?
What if it's on an uncapped well?
Right?
Tell me what I need to do with that.
I mean, you went through real estate classes, you practiced the paper, and they go through all these whack scenarios. But the reality is, you're trying to figure out that you can't call your friend on the phone and ask him for his email. And I'm not trying to be rude. That's the reality of the knowledge, that's where the knowledge has to go.
Mhm.
How do I call my friend? How do I say email? And it's two things. It is knowledge and it is mindset. Mindset, my friend does want to help me.
Right.
Now that I know that he wants to help me, if I can get that through my thick skull, which is challenging, now I've got it in there. All right. Do I just say, hey, do you mind giving me your email? Well, yeah, you can just say that. And because he's your friend, chances are they're just going to give it to you.
Right.
But what if he doesn't? Right? What do you think is going to happen if he doesn't? He's going to say, what do you need that for? Because I'm going to send you a bunch of junk. You're my friend, and you're going to take it.
And it's good junk. You're gonna like it.
Well, I mean, maybe you do, maybe you're not. I mean, it depends on your relationship with your
Gonna
friend. But I
send you a
mean,
bunch of
if
junk.
I called you right now and said, hey, give me your email because I'm going to send you a bunch of junk and you were my friend, we've known each other for a while, I'm going to tell you a little secret. You're giving me your email address and I'm sending you junk. That's how this works. And everybody's going to be fine with it. But we're so afraid of the rejection piece
Right.
that we're, you know what I mean? So that's why we talk about other strategies, because in the end, that's real. That's not fake.
Right.
We talk about the other strategies, like, hey, you know, my boss has asked me a goal of 100 emails this week. You mind giving me one of yours? Okay, right? If that makes you feel better about making a call, do it that way.
Right.
But
Right.
I'll call one of my friends right now and ask for his email address and tell him because I'm going to send you junk. And they will laugh and give me their email.
Yep.
And who loses in that scenario? Nobody. They know why you're giving it to them, and they know why.
Right.
why
I have a
they're giving it to you.
challenge from my boss. I'm gonna need your email. All right,
Cool.
here it is.
So what I'm
Who's your
hearing
boss
is
if you're self-employed?
you are. Yeah, yourself.
I challenge myself to get 100 emails. I don't have to tell you that part, right?
They
I mean,
don't
I have to tell you
know.
that.
They don't know you're at 1099.
Well, even if they do, who's your boss? Me. You challenge yourself to get 100 emails? Yes, I did.
Do you have a problem with that?
That, you know what? You're being a smart ass, friend. I'll need 2 emails from you.
I'm gonna
You
need yours
and your wife.
and your wife's. And if you start getting more smart, I'm gonna need your mom and dad's.
Have fun with it. They're your friends,
Right.
right? And it is a mindset problem, but it's also a skill problem in that you haven't practiced that skill.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So skill is a thing.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying, we were talking about aha stuff earlier and the other thing, and for me, it's in my head, I'm making it more complicated than I think I need to. And that's what I just got from that. You just have to do it and you don't have
What's
to.
gonna happen?
And
Yeah.
once you do it a couple times, you're like, holy crap, what was I worried about? This is super easy. And then guess what happens? You're successful. And you start selling houses and people are like, oh my God, what got into them? I'm like, well, they're doing what they need to do, right? Like they're doing the stuff. And it's amazing how
Joe,
complicated we make it.
Need your email and your address
Right.
for what?
Junk.
I'm sending you junk. The good news is eventually you're gonna get an invite for cookies. And you could win cookies. You like cookies? Eventually that's gonna show up, but there'll be a lot of junk before we get there.
And, eventually on St. Patrick's Day, you might get a lottery ticket in the mail. Do you want that? Yeah, you do.
Why wouldn't you? At the cost of getting other junk, a lottery ticket,
Lottery
maybe
tickets
you win $50.
totally worth
and
it.
you're happy day.
Right?
Because you know your 36 touch plan, and that's one of your 36 touches is your happy St. Patrick's Day lottery ticket giveaway.
Yes.
And you have 100 contacts and cost you $100.
Well, like, you have to get a stamp.
No.
You just.
Horrible.
I ask all my 100 friends to stand in front of me and then I throw the tickets.
Throw tickets at them, we film it, and I put it on Insta.
And I get more followers.
Guys, throwing lottery tickets at us.
So what other ahas do you guys have so far?
I mean, what he just said helped me a ton because you sit there and think about all the negative things, but you're not thinking of the positive. That's the thing that I struggle with is I feel like I'm sitting here focusing on the negative or, oh, I'm surrounded by these shark agents in this office and I'm just a minnow right now. And you can think about the negative, but.
Well, keep in mind, I mean, we always talk about this, and you hear this so many times. They were in your shoes one day. The only thing that changed for them is they did the thing.
Yep.
That's the only thing that changed for them. They did the thing.
They called for the email.
And they did it again and again and again and again. And they got told no a lot. But no is the currency of a salesperson. That's what you really expect.
Right.
No is the currency of it. If you're not earning no's, you have not asked enough questions.
Right? And eventually you'll get the yeses, but if you don't get no's, you're never gonna get a yes.
Nope, don't want to sell my house. Nope, don't want to sell my house. Nope, don't want to buy a house. Nope, don't want to sell my house.
Don't know an investor.
It's the currency of a salesperson.
Right.
You're gonna get a lot of no's. And then eventually, one time they're gonna call you back and say, you know what, I told you no, I do want to. Now,
Right?
time has changed.
So I'm gonna ask this one again. So how will you know what to focus on and what's most important to learn to succeed? Is it skill? Test info doesn't matter because this is for somebody who is testing. Is it skill or is it mindset? What do you guys think?
What was the hardest, or what would be your rating ones?
How do you know what to focus on and what's more important for you to learn to succeed?
Mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, mindset,
Mindset for sure, yeah. Because the skill will come if you
Yeah.
put in the work and have the mindset to do more.
Right, because as soon as you can flip your mindset around, then you're open to the skill of, I gotta just pick up this phone and call and ask for this guy's email. Like the fear is gone, right? And
If your mindset is right and you
Mhm.
make the phone calls,
Mhm.
and somebody says, heaven forbid, yeah, I'm in. Is it gonna be easier to go get somebody to help you with that?
Right.
Or is it gonna be easier to go get somebody to say, hey, can you sit next to me while I make phone calls? Because I'm really afraid my friends are gonna not like me. Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll sit next to you while you call your friends and find out that they do like you, because I'll think it's really funny. But I mean, really, where can you get help most readily? With skill stuff, right? In the end, that's where, I mean, if you don't know how to fill out a form, said, just walk down that hall.
Yes.
I practice it every day. Was today I asked you one, or was it yesterday about the radio buttons?
Yesterday.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yesterday was radio buttons up front. They asked something else about something else. Every day, I ask somebody a skill question. Why? I ask somebody a question every day because I want them to be able to show that they're knowledgeable. It makes them feel good, solve problems for me. But it also develops a connection, right? Every day. Not just
Right.
all up here. Those people in the ALC, they're there every day for the same thing. What would happen if you knew there was gonna be somebody there at 10 a.m. sitting at that thing, waiting to
Right.
answer your question, and you came and said, I don't know how to fill out a form. You're sitting here helping people, you mind helping me?
Can you help me fill this form out?
They might not, but I promise you they will get somebody who will.
Right. Right. So that's the thing I think is kind of again, a mindset shift is what a lot of times agents think is I have to learn all these things before I can start this, because I don't want to look stupid when somebody asks me a question about the well, right? And then,
Yeah,
yeah, I know, right? But what you do is you say, you know what, that is a really good question. I'm going to find out.
Don't go in.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I had in my appointment, so. The question that I need to find out is about radon testing. Is that like a standard that people do before selling a home?
It's-
before selling their home, is it a standard?
No, it's a standard that buyers would do it.
Many buyers.
So the buyers would pay for a radon test, or ask the sellers to pay for one?
They would pay for the test, but the sellers, if radon was in the house, most likely the sellers would have to pay to have it mitigated.
So the thing you have to remember is you aren't making the decision, right?
Yep.
So if I'm talking to sellers, I would say many buyers are going to do this. Would you like to be surprised?
Right. Would you like to be in control?
Would you like to be surprised and find out after you've just negotiated a price that you're going to have to drop $1,700 for a radon mitigation system? Or would you like to pay for a test in advance and no?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they
And,
talk,
and again, at that point, then it's their decision.
Right.
You know what? I'll
Yep.
take the risk, or you know what? I'd feel a lot better selling the house finding.
Right.
Some people don't. Go back in their court.
Yep. And that's the thing is there's so many questions that people have that you're not
Yeah.
gonna know. You're never gonna know it all, right? And don't ever expect,
Who's ready to sell a house to gravity?
oh my God, gravity furnace. I have,
One of you is gonna sell a house with a gravity furnace, I promise.
I bought
Is
a
that the big
house.
octopus looking one?
Yeah. I bought a house with a gravity
Was
furnace.
that like Home Alone? Where he just went downstairs? he's afraid of
Yes, they're freaking nuts. I mean, literally gravity is what brings the heat up. Like, it's not like a super good fan or anything. It's just like these giant tubes and they look like an octopus and they're filled, with asbestos. And so they're dangerous. But yeah, there we go. Look at that thing. They're nuts.
Those are some, and most of those are pretty nice looking. I mean, they've done some, I mean, some of them are just, I mean, if you
They
went into a
take up
house,
so much room. It's ridiculous. Yeah, look at that thing.
How big it is to the water heater?
Right? It's like 3 times the size of a water heater. I mean, that's like your whole basement, right? Like, look at the washer in the back. Whoa. Whoa. And it's like this right here, like all these things here is asbestos. Right there. This is all asbestos right there. So in that, you have to, it's just super expensive, right? So if you see that, you're like, whoa, so we're gonna, yep, whoa.
I'm
maybe.
gonna have to call one of my friends. right? I mean, you see that, that's cool. That's a gravity furnace. I'm gonna call one of my friends.
Right.
Because I don't even know, like, here's the deal. People buy houses with gravity furnaces. This one bought a house with a gravity furnace. So people are buying them,
Yep.
so you don't need to worry about it.
We bought the house and then we put in a furnace.
You got rid of the gravity
We for
furnace?
sure did. Because it worked. It worked when we bought the house. And so you can't be like, well, we want that out, right? They're like, well, it works. So we bought it and then we put in a furnace. Yeah. And air conditioner. Okay. Anything else you guys want to share on that one? The messages one? What to focus on? I feel like we kind of hit that home on what you need to focus on. Scripts, right? And the other thing is, you guys all have each other's email. I think Blake was the only one that didn't email back because he's sick. But so this week, I want you to get a partner. And I mean, there's 4 of you here now. And we're going to go for a week of practicing scripts with that partner. And then if you want, we can switch it up next time. It doesn't matter to me, but you just need to talk to each other for like 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, right? And what would that script sound like, Jason?
Hey, it's Jason, how are you today?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How's your family?
Oh, my family's good. Yeah, we got over COVID like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Jiminy, was it like a relay race where you kept handing the baton from one COVID player
For
to the next COVID
sure.
player?
That's exactly what it
It
was.
takes forever to get out of that. We had that same thing going in my house, and I thought I was never gonna leave, but eventually we did, so it was awesome.
Right.
And then when I left, I finally got to go back to work. How's work going for you?
Work is going good. I'm working from home still, so I don't even actually get to go anywhere.
What
But
are you doing these days?
what am I doing?
I don't know.
I'm a teacher.
But, oh, I remember you being like, you were a coach for a while, but now you're actually, is that what you're calling coaching? Or-
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Yep.
You're a coach, right?
I'm a
How's
coach.
the business going?
It's going good.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Do you bring on new staff anytime or anything like that? Or, I mean, do you have people working for you?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a lot of new staff and there's new people that I coach all the time. They're coming on. It's really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
What are you doing for fun these days? You know, when you get out of work,
I'm going to my daughter's volleyball game every
Ooh.
weekend. She's got a tournament. That's really fun.
How far do you have to go for that?
We had to go to Andover. We have to go to like Mankato,
See, I've heard these tales of like
Rochester.
people driving to Iowa. or
Oh, not that far.
Wisconsin.
Everything's in Minnesota.
I suppose, is
Yeah.
that like, I don't know, is that like a hockey thing? You know anything about that? I don't know. Like hockey people have to go like to China
I
or
know.
something.
Yeah, and it's super expensive. Yeah, volleyball's not that bad.
Well, that's awesome then. I have a friend who's really, her daughter was super great at volleyball, actually turned into a scholarship at
Oh.
college. Is that the kind of thing that? you know,
Yeah,
You're in?
that's kind of that's not our goal. That's her goal. Because we'll support her in whatever she wants to do.
Well,
So
of course, you
yeah.
are, but I mean, that's a dream you've got.
right,
What
right.
about yourself?
Dream for me. I want to go to Spain.
Go to Spain?
Yeah,
What's keeping you from doing that?
money.
Now, you mentioned the coaching business is going pretty well, right?
Yeah,
So you have a lot of clients and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of them have things like, hey, you know what, I think about, I'd like to move into a new house or all those kinds of things, right?
yeah.
Have you ever thought about selling homes?
Me?
Yeah.
Sell homes? No.
We have a fantastic program, and I can get somebody in touch with you about it that will help you get a scholarship to go to class,
Oh,
and you can learn how to be a real estate agent.
can I do it part-time?
There are so many people in our office that have made a successful career out of doing it part-time. I absolutely think you'd be fantastic.
Okay. Oh, wow. You do?
I do. Because
Huh.
the most important things about being a real estate agent are being able to talk to people, which you do all the time,
Right.
and not being afraid to reach out to people at the end of the day. And clearly you've gotten to be a successful coach by doing that.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you made some money from that, would that help you get to Spain?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. I will have my friend Jeff give you a call.
Great.
Yeah.
You're super good.
Here's the thing, it doesn't, not every phone call has to be about selling a house
Right,
for me to make money,
right,
right? If I get her in the downline,
right.
she starts selling a house, I'm getting passive income, which is actually better than having to work for it. We all know that. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, we talked about referrals and stuff like that on Wednesday at the meeting, the last meeting. But I also posted 2 fantastic videos in the Facebook group
They're super
that
good.
go over how that process works and how you get paid for referring agents.
Yep.
Even if they don't work for you, you don't have to have a team and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Never mind the fact that, we really got engaged in this conversation with Jess, just like I was talking about with that other lady who said, what happens if I get really busy? I mean, I really, at this point, I can only do this part-time.
Right,
Well, she's got friends who are looking for houses and she sends them to me. And she's an agent, I can pay her 25% for a referral fee and I'm getting free referrals.
right.
Who's losing here?
Is that pretty standard, 25%, or is that,
Mhm.
is it negotiable or just kind of?
It is, I would say 25 is like the standard, and then if, like instances I've had something where it was completely teed up, right? I'm like, these people in Florida need this. Can you go do that? Right? Like they're going to sign the paperwork or whatever it is, right? And then I'll say, are you willing to do 30%? Right? I don't think I've gone ever over 30, but it's whatever you want, right? Like,
So, but on like the vice versa side, down the line, if somebody offers you, 15%, you like kick rocks or,
I'd be like,
So
I do referrals for 25.
okay.
The best thing about real estate is everything's negotiable.
Right, right.
What are you prepared to say yes to? What are you prepared to say no to?
Yep.
Look, how much, do I have any clients right now?
Exactly.
15% is pretty good,
Right, right. Yeah.
Do I have a lot of people and I'm gonna have to try wedges in there? It ain't worth it for me right now.
And really the 15% would be if you were referring it out. So you're gonna end up getting
If you're doing the work,
75. If I say, Thomas, I need to refer you some business, let's say you live in Florida. I'm like, Thomas, I have these people for you. I totally teed it up. So are you okay getting 70% instead of 75? Because it's a piece of cake. And you're like, yeah. So then I get the 30
Okay.
and you do all the work and you get 70.
Yeah.
Or
versus
75.
doing the work, signing the papers, all that stuff, it's the lion's share of it.
Right.
But I mean, why wouldn't I want to get paid for setting it up?
Couple phone calls and.
Right, of course, you know that somebody tells you it's teed up and it's ready to go. It is not. It is not ready to go. Never. Even when Jess calls you, it ain't ready. It will go sideways as soon as you agree.
Right. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But it's fine because you
still-
have help, right?
Right, you got
And-
help, it's fine, it's not, don't turn away success.
Right, right.
But again, that's a great example. I mean, the idea is the script, the call. The only thing we're doing is practicing this process, right? Every time.
So think about what kind of conversation you want to have, right? And if you need to focus on getting emails, so then it's, right? It's like, hey, Thomas. We're role playing.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
It's going well.
Great. So I have this competition I'm in, and I have to get 100 emails by the end of the week. My boss said I got to do this. So can I get your email?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know. I'm a bit dodgy, aren't I? Like, you don't
What are
know.
you gonna use the email for?
I'm gonna send you some stuff, some cool stuff. Like I have a really awesome newsletter, and in it I have coupons to local places.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I will give it to you.
All right. What is it?
Yada, yada, yada at.
Gmail.com. Yeah, like really. it's-
Practice what is relevant to you. And-
Right.
And that's exactly it, all right. I've got your email and I didn't tell you the whole thing. I need your address.
Well, now what are you gonna send me?
More junk, but now it's gonna come in the mail, like lottery tickets. or
Oh, Lottery
things like
tickets.
that. Because we do a promotion, I do a promotion with my group, we send out a lottery ticket around
St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day, yes. And, you know, in addition to that, we also send out, you know, coupons and things like that. But you'll also receive occasional pieces of mail to me telling you how great I'm doing. Like, I just sold the schoolhouse. You'd be like, man, my man's doing right.
All right. Can I get any recipe cards?
I could give you a recipe right now for some magic brownies.
Sweet. Sold. Here's my
Maybe-
address.
But to her point, there are, I mean, that's one of the things that some people will use promotional material is they send, and that's one of their touches is a monthly recipe card. How am I gonna, Jess, if you don't give me your email, how am I gonna enroll you in the Jelly of the Month Club? Now, almost every friend I have will laugh
Jelly?
at that because we talk about,
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
it's the gift that keeps on giving, Clark, Christmas vacation. And almost everybody I know would laugh about getting enrolled in the Jolly of the Month Club. And I mean, but again, it's a script practice that just kind of comes to you because you're actually forced to have the conversation with the person. And then once
Right.
you've had it,
Right.
then it's just natural. But initially, it seems weird because you have to have talk.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you three and Andrea. So I want you guys to do this like we just did. So we need a client and we need an agent.
I'll be a client.
I'm no dummy.
I see how this works. Hey, I'll tell you a secret that is the best secret. My dad was useless for advice, but he did give me one piece of advice. If somebody ever asks for a volunteer, raise your hand immediately, because the second job they ask for is way worse.
Right. That's so true. Okay, who wants to be the client? I mean, the agent. Oh my God.
I'll do it.
Okay,
I knew she would. I had every piece of confidence it would be her.
All right, Thomas. Ring, 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 ring.
Hello,
Hey, Thomas, it's Andrea. How have you been?
I've been doing all right. How about you?
I've been pretty good. How's your family? Didn't your sister just get married? I saw on Facebook like a few months ago.
Yeah, the wedding was big. It was, you know, out in Hawaii, you know, it was just a fun time. And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. How was Hawaii? I've never been. I've always wanted to go.
Oh, it was awesome. I'm pretending like I've been there, but yeah, it was awesome.
Beaches, man.
Yeah, so many beaches. It was just a fun time.
Gosh, I wonder like what you'd have to do to like get enough money to go to Hawaii. I mean, what do you do these days?
Lately I've been doing real estate.
Real estate?
I'm a teacher, actually.
What do you teach?
High school math.
High school math. Math was my least favorite subject. How's that going?
Not too bad.
Nice. Where do you teach at?
I teach in Fridley High School.
Okay, Fridley. Yeah, I used to have some volleyball games there and some basketball games. Yeah, I remember they were tough competition. So yeah, Fridley's a good school. So when you're not teaching, what do you do for fun?
I golf, hang out with buddies, you know, just the average stuff.
Okay, nice. So do you plan on like teaching for kind of the foreseeable future, or is there anything else?
How that pension comes in, yeah, maybe.
That bit is-
Nice.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll be doing it till for a while longer. Yeah.
Perfect. Do you know of any of your fellow teachers that are looking to maybe sell or buy a home?
Not that I know of. I haven't really had that conversation. It's never come up.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is I'm a new real estate agent. So if someone ever talks about that, if you could give me their number, I'd love that. But I also wanted to, because I don't think I have your email address. Would you be able to give it to me?
I could do that. Yeah.
Well, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Thomas.
No problem.
All right. Well, it was nice to catch up. I'd love to do coffee sometime as well if you're available. Maybe, next week. Are you available next Tuesday or Wednesday?
Sure.
Sure. Perfect. Yeah. Is there a Caribou by you and I can meet you out that way?
Yes, there is.
Awesome. All right. What about what time do you start teaching in the morning?
I gotta be there at 7.
7. I think Caribou opens at 5. Do you want to meet earlier? We can meet after you're done teaching.
No, I don't. Want to meet that early.
Oh, totally understandable. I totally get that. How about then after school, you know, if you're gonna have a late night grading papers and everything, you might need a little pick-me-up, some caffeine.
Yeah, that could work.
Okay. All right. So how about like 4 o'clock at the Caribou in Fridley on Oak Street?
That works.
Awesome. Well, it's
That's
nice
it.
chatting with you, and I will chat with you more next Thursday. I think I said Thursday. All right. Bye, Thomas. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was so good. You did really good, Andrea.
Yeah, it's always that, you know, how to get to the real estate part. Like you don't want to, you know, that transition, I guess, you know, like it's fine. Like talking is just, I think for me, my biggest thing is I don't want to come off as like salesy or like the only reason I called is, you know, to get that. But
I have a question. Was it like a cold call almost, or was it supposed to be like we had known each other?
no,
Because if it is like if we've known each other, I think it's just way more natural. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's not such a script.
Right.
The one thing I would toss out, and I think you did a great job, but if you're looking for a link and a place to link it,
Mhm.
where are you teaching again?
Fridley High School.
Oh, Fridley High School. Do you live up that way? Because I thought you lived on the south side.
No, I'm up there now.
Oh, great. When did you move in?
About a year ago.
Oh, how was the market then? I mean, right? You see, what I mean,
Yeah.
just- you're just going a different direction. And that's, you know, and I love the fact that you asked where he taught, right? Because I mean, you know, we often ask people where they work,
Mhm.
but we don't necessarily follow that up with, you know, are you working from home these days? Or do you have to drive into the office? Where is that at? Those things all really lead to solid real estate questions like, oh, how's that commute? Terrible. I hate it. Right? I mean, now you got a whole different thing, or,
Yeah.
you know, it's not so bad except in the winter. You know, I mean, maybe that ends up not being the right transition, but it's a great place to start.
Mhm.
Yeah. Super good. Okay. You two are up.
Sounds good. So another thing, like, do you have this written out in front of you when you're making calls, like, for?
Me? No more. But I absolutely would if it was the first few times I was going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
Until I was,
right in front
until
of
I
me.
was comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, now I've done, and honestly, I've done enough role plays, even just with Jess, that, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
I have it, I would have different ones, like if it was a FISBO, if it was an expired, whatever I was doing, I had it taped up. And then I just was looking at it, and sometimes like for Ford, it's just, you know, the 4 words,
Mhm.
right? And, cause sometimes what happens is if you do too much, and then you kind of like get lost in the weeds, and you're like, what in the hell what am I
Yeah,
doing,
that-
right? Like you're focusing so much on what you're gonna say, that you're not listening to what they said, and then you could ask it again, and they're like,
Yeah.
I just answered that.
That's what I struggle with big time, because I need the face-to-face interaction, and when I'm on the phone, I'm pacing around my whole house, no lie, doing
Right.
laps around my whole house, just trying to think of what I'm gonna say next.
Yeah.
You gotta get your steps in, brother.
Yeah, it's a good way, I guess. I get more exercise doing that than. Like,
Who's calling?
Want me to do the- you can be the agent or not?
I'll try being the agent. Ring, ring.
Hello,
Hey,
Jenny.
Jenny, okay, I was gonna say Andrea.
I'm here.
Hey Jenny, this is Eli, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. I saw you got a new job, how's that going?
It's going pretty well. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Have you already started?
Yeah, just recently.
See, this is where I just.
fine. Just recently?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
What do you like about the job?
It allows me a lot of freedom to have time with my family. We just, you know, we're just moving back to Minnesota. So
Oh, that's nice. Where are you moving from?
New Mexico.
Wow, what made you come up here?
Beginning of COVID, they shut down my husband's refinery. So yeah, he relocated and
Oh, really? So
said
he's,
we're coming, yeah, move back up here where my family's from and had a job with a construction company here in their industrial group. So yeah.
oh, nice. So you got family up here and that's what made you guys move
Yeah.
back up here?
Yeah, yep, both my kids. So
Where are you guys at?
we are, well, my daughter's in Kenyon right now, and funny enough, we've actually just kind of moved in with her. So,
Oh, so you're looking for a place?
yeah, I think so, but I don't know the market's been. I just don't know.
It's been pretty crazy. But you sold your house in New Mexico?
Well, we sold our house in Texas, and then yeah, so yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a new real estate agent.
Really?
And yeah, so if you ever need help looking for a place, I'm always here to help.
You know, actually, that would be great. We have some kind of different needs. We're looking for something that we need land, my husband needs a shop, all that kind of stuff. His office is up in the city, is up in St. Paul, but he works on the road a lot too. So he's out of state probably half the year. So we're kind of actually looking for something, maybe lake property, something that we can also have.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so that's awesome. So it's something not too far away from the city, but
Yeah, I'd say 45 minutes.
yeah, okay. Cool. What do you say we go out and get coffee one morning?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool, this Tuesday at 8 work for you?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. And then is there a certain coffee place that you like near you?
There's this cute little coffee shop down in Waterville where we're kind of interested. It's called Cool Wave Coffee. So if you don't mind driving down there.
Yeah, for sure. I'll come to you. So Tuesday at 8 in Waterville.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Perfect. I'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.
Isn't it funny? Because it's hard to like just make it up,
Yeah.
right? Once you get into the role play, it's like, so that's the thing, is that for the client, it is so natural, right?
Uh-huh.
And for you as the agent, it's like, don't sweat it, because they're not sitting there thinking about what you're doing. Like Thomas, he's like, I'm a real estate agent. Oh shit, I'm a teacher, right? Pension, right? But it's like we always think that someone else is thinking or judging us, right?
Mhm.
And I know it's nerve-wracking when you have other people listening, because that's different, right? But the thing is when you're calling, you're only going to have one person listening to you.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be thinking, oh my God, this guy, this effing guy, right? They're not going to think that. And it's the mindset again. We think that, we're like, oh my God, why did you say that? I don't know what to say now, right? But yeah, I think you did really good.
Thanks. Yeah, once I get in the flow of the conversation,
Mhm.
but it's just getting to that part of the conversation.
Right.
that is hard.
Always open up without family,
Okay.
but it's different because a lot of, if you're calling your peer group, I mean, I know when I was your age, I called somebody and say, how's your family? They'd be like, family?
Yeah.
Well, it's me and my roommate,
We're pretty
Uh-huh.
good.
whatever.
That's where,
We were playing a video
That's
game.
kind of-
I mean, I don't know.
yeah, where I said, how's the new job coming? Because I guess that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
And how's college going?
Yep.
Stuff like that. But
And I mean, essentially, you're just subbing in other, essentially, at a certain point in your life, maybe it's your job, another point in your life, it's school, you're just subbing in what makes sense for that sort of progression path through the thing. The other challenge that, we talked about before, that's really, when you sit down to make that phone call, what is my goal with this phone call? What is my goal? What am I trying to do here? Maybe it's trying to get an email. Maybe it's trying to get an address. Maybe it's trying to get an appointment. You know what I mean? What is my goal with this call? And know that if your goal is to get an appointment, then that's going to lead you, it's naturally going to lead your conversation in a particular way. Even if it's not an appointment to sell a house, it's just an appointment to continue the conversation, right? Don't put the cart before the horse, right? I mean, but I just want to continue the conversation. I want to keep advancing this conversation. One of the things that I heard somebody talk about with their contacts is they broke them up into a couple groups or a few groups. And the first group is people who I literally don't know and don't know I work in real estate. Then there's people I know who don't know I'm in real estate. Then there's people I know who know I'm in real estate. And then there's people I know who know I'm in real estate and I've done business with. And the goal then is anytime I interact with the individual, my goal is to move them up one group in that category. So if I don't know you and you don't know I do real estate, I want to get to know you. Not even the real estate thing is potentially off the table.
Right.
My goal is
Right.
just to get to know you because I don't know you. But now that I know you, but you don't know I'm in real estate, my goal is to advance the conversation so that you know that I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
Now that you know me and you know that I'm in real estate, my next goal is to move you into the group where we've done business together or you've referred someone. One of those two things, right? And that's just where that goal sits. And then you think about what am I trying to accomplish with this call? You know, I would put contact information potentially in one of those first two groups, right? I mean, where it's a separate thing. I know you and I want you to know that I'm in real estate. And as part of that, I got to get your contact information.
Right. Well, that leads really well into number 6, which is action. What are the most important actions you're going to take in 2022? So, and I know 2022 is gigantic, right? So if we said the next week, what are the most important actions for you to take in the next week? So you guys tell me.
I guess I haven't done any golden letters, so I want to do that.
Okay.
And I guess do a better job in the morning of time blocking for connecting to 10 people. I've been slacking on that. Yeah.
What's the most people you've gotten in one day?
Called. The first day I came in here, I called like 50 people. But then I like loaded me, and I was just like, oh my God.
So
Yeah.
since then?
Maybe 50 cents. So I mean, 5 a day average. So I'll do like one day I'll do 5, 6, and then I won't do any for 2 days. So I got to be more consistent.
Why do you think it is like that?
I don't know. I'm still getting my morning routine right, where I want to get up really early. I had a job where I have to be there at 6, so I was so used to waking up really early and being done with my day early. And now it's like I wake up 7:30, 8, sometimes 8:30, and I'm just kind of coasting into the day.
So in your mind, what's most important? The number of contacts you talk to in a week or building the behaviors?
I guess building the behaviors, because if it's long term like that, all that other shit will come. Like,
So what if you change the number of people you want to talk to and you said, my goal is to talk to 2 people every day and that's it.
that's doable. That's more doable. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Well, after 3 days, you're hitting 2 every day and then you say, I got to do 3, right? Or whatever. I mean,
Okay.
but the point is, what are you really trying to hit? Are you trying to hit the behavior? You're trying to hit a number. And
I
then
guess a
you
little
got
both.
to decide which one is more. And look, either one, they're both valid options. If my goal is to talk to 50 people this week, I can do it 10 days, 10 people, 5 days. I can do 50 in 1 day because that just works better for me. But if what you think is the biggest barrier and the biggest challenge is building the habits, then it might be more effective to take a step back because you're not hitting that goal yet. Take a step back and say, what's most important is I'm going to set aside this time and I'm going to get this done. And if that means I only make 3 calls, it'll be a victory at the end of the week if I've done it every day.
Okay.
Versus Again, and that just depends on what the goal is for you. You know what I mean? Some other people might look at it and go, well, you know, I gotta advance my business really fast. And if that's the thing, I gotta make as many phone calls as I possibly can. And that's the thing every day. How many can I get every day? And that's the goal, right?
Right.
But if you put a goal in front of yourself that is, regardless of level, it is more than you think you're going to achieve every day, guess what's gonna happen? You're not going to achieve it. It's more than you've already crossed off the goal as a possibility in your mind before it's even begun. So what is the real goal, and why am I doing that goal? Why is that important? Becomes the driving force. And that's if you're not hitting it, right? I mean, if you are hitting it, you don't go, well, I'm hitting the goal, but the most important thing to me is doing it every day. So I'm going to scale it back. Well, I was doing it every day. You don't do that, right? But I mean, understand what your goal is and where you need to be. And if last week you didn't hit it, either you have to change behavior, change the goal. You know, and if you understand why you didn't hit it, you know, because I made 50 calls and was burned out.
Right.
The number's got to come down and go with the number that's doable.
Yeah, and you know, the biggest thing with the time blocking is going to be that it's going to be building that behavior, and it's consistent, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what I do today, this is what I do tomorrow, right? And you build that consistency in there, and it, for me, it like eases the anxiety and eases my mind, because I'm like, well, I know this is what I'm going to do and this is how it's going to go. So I don't have to freak out about where stuff going to fit in, right? Like, this is just how it is. And then, you know, when we look at the oh my gosh, what is it called? The thing we did today, the economic model. Basically, that's a model that Gary Keller came up with, saying this, if you want to make this much money and you have, you know, your expenses and your cost of goods taken out, this is how many people you need to talk to, or this is how many appointments you need to have per day, per week and per month, right? And so that breaks it all down. So we found out you had to have one appointment a week, either a listing appointment or a buyer appointment, right? And so then my suggestion, and you can tell me what you think of this, my suggestion is on Monday, you are, you know, your goal is to get that appointment, right? If you don't get it, then Tuesday your goal is to get it, right? You're eventually going to get that appointment, and then you're going to go on it, and you're going to start learning the contract aspect of things. But what you're also going to do every day is you're going to call again so that you can get an appointment for next week. Because you don't want to start Monday trying to get an appointment for this current week, right? So then you're always kind of filling that pipeline, and guess what? Appointments will cancel. Okay, that happens, right? But you're continually doing that every day. Like, I'm working 2 hours every day to get an appointment. Because if I don't have an appointment, I don't have a client, which means I am unemployed, right? I'm unemployed every day until I set an appointment, right? What do you think?
You've got to define your goals in the way that makes the most sense to you and accomplishes what you achieve, right? And you've got to also make an assessment, like, how important is eating this week? You know, and I mean, that's for some people in some places, in some situations, that is the goal, right? I mean, I'm lucky. I got a wife who's like a millionaire mogul kind of thing. And I mean, if I don't make an appointment this week, it's cool. Next week, I better make one. And I also have a regular job, right? I mean, I have a regular job to pay me as well, right? That changes my mindset. But that mindset piece has to be part of that goal setting thing. Does it address that? Second thing I challenge you is, once you set that time, what happens when you succeed?
Feel good?
Let's say at the end of the week, let's say you set a call, I'm gonna make 2 hours worth of calls, 5 days. What happens? Feel good.
At the end, when you met your goal.
Okay, well, how are you gonna celebrate that?
Shots.
One night shots. Bro, here's the funny thing. If that's your answer, yeah, that's your answer. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the biggest things we do is we set a goal, but we don't tie it to anything, right? when you were a kid and somebody told you, you win the stupid blue ribbon if you win the race, how many kids wanted to win that stupid blue ribbon? A lot. Guess what? You were one of those kids too. If at the end of the week, I make my calls, I'm taking 2 shots, you're in, whatever it is. What does it look like when you win?
Right, have that celebration, because so many times we like, it's like, woo, you know, on to the next thing. Like,
Yep.
what? You just met it, you hit it. Like, I am you know, in the disc profile, I'm a high I, like, I like, you know, recognition, whatever, but like, I also like to like put it out there, like, I'm on Facebook, I'm like, oh my God, I had this goal and I hit it. This is awesome.
She, for example, when she caps, she wants people to know she is capped.
Yeah.
That's a big, but that's a huge deal, really. When you think
It
about
is.
it, that's a huge deal. And so she capped. What did you do when you capped?
Well, let me just say, I didn't know when I capped. So when I did figure out with my checks that I capped, I was super excited, but I was like, why wasn't I announced? That's where I went, right? I was like, I need to be announced that I capped. And this is exciting. And then I told my husband, like, I capped. He's like, I don't know what that means. I'm like, I'm making 100% of my check. He's like, that's amazing. Right?
That's a big deal.
But did we go do something? No. Did we we didn't celebrate it. We did
Members
nothing.
closing.
I didn't
Members
know.
closing happened just now, right?
Right.
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 Put that check, and all I wanted to do is know, how does the check, where does the check go? What does the guy do with the check when he gets it? That's what I want to know, right? Because
Right.
I want to know how things work. I don't think we can celebrate it, right? If I don't celebrate it, though, what do I get out of it? There's plenty of people tell you, and self-included, when you aren't doing a good job.
Right.
What does your success
Oh,
look like?
God.
And how are you celebrating your own successes?
Right.
Take that time to pat
Right.
yourself on the back, because if you
Right.
don't do it, ain't nobody patting you on the back.
Right. I mean, I'll pat you on the back.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the
Because I'm
day,
like that.
at the end of the day, you're your own worst critic. So why wouldn't
Yes.
you be your best cheerleader?
That's a good line.
You don't have to be boastful. Just set a goal, hit it, celebrate it.
Even if it's like I'm celebrating by, you guys are gonna think I'm such a nerd. I'm celebrating by going home and I'm gonna have some popcorn that I used olive oil to make, and I'm gonna watch Ozark. That is my celebration, right?
Cool.
That's it. Because we have a TV in our bedroom now that we haven't had in the entire time we've lived there, and it's like the best thing ever. And I'm completely by myself. I don't want anybody around me. And they're like, wow, you're super fun. But I mean, that's like, to me, is like, that'll get me through the week. Be like, yeah,
Know
look
thyself.
forward to that, right? What you are your own worst critic. Why not be your own best
Cheerleader.
best cheerleader?
And then ask yourself who you want in your life. Critic or cheerleader.
In this book that I will challenge all of you to read, there is, and you were talking about last week, and I thought it was so cool that then I read about it. You said wolves. In this book, they say dogs, but she says, George is the guy's name. She's like, and she drives the bus, and she's like, George, there's, you can feed the positive dog or you can feed the negative dog. And whichever one you feed is the one that's going to grow. I'm like, oh my God, you just said that, right? And then, so George has like all this negative crap going on all the time. It's always negative. And he gets on this bus and she's like, you know what, you need to check yourself. And so she gives 10 rules to, fuel your life, work, team with positive energy. And it just like was like, I was telling people earlier, I had a bad night, Monday night. I have a crazy aunt. She accused me of stealing my grandma's wedding ring.
that happened many years ago. She's like, I will press charges, like all this crap. I was like, so I let it kind of get to me. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what? She's not getting on my bus. She is not invited on my bus for the rest of my life. And I'm done. Because I'm not gonna let her crap, her negative stuff, because she's literally got mental illness, right? I'm not gonna let her stuff affect my positivity. I'm done. And so I, kind of nipped at my mom because she was like, oh, that's just the way it is. And I was like, she was, there's nothing to be done. I was like, nothing can be done. This is when I kind of freaked out. But then I was like, you know what? I don't even care. And I let it not bother me for, what's that? The wolf you feed. Yes. Okay. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people.
He said, my son, the battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil, is anger, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good, is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf wins the battle? The old Cherokee simply replied, one you feed.
Right? Like,
One you feed.
and that's the thing where we always talk about how like everything's inside you, right? Like all the answers, like all the stuff we were talking about last week, what's your why? It's all in you. It's just getting it out and talking about it. And when you told me when we were role playing it for the 4 o'clock class, and you're like, well, why is that important to you? Why is that important to you? Right. And then I'm like, and I lost my shit, right? And I started crying. But I was like, to have my brother, be able to do real estate and for me to be able to help him, right? And then how many other lives can I help? Like that's my goal, right? It's not I wanna buy a new house, I wanna go to Disney World, I wanna help people.
And if you do,
But that's super fun, right? Like, I mean,
But-
that's not my, like.
That doesn't
it's
help you.
not- It's not material things. It's
Right.
how can I help somebody have a better life? And I heard people say that in KW so many times, like big teams. They're like, well, we want to help so many people. And I was like, what are they talking about? Help people, right? I'm like, now I get it, right? Because you're giving somebody the path of, and like we always say, like you have to want it more than I do, right? Like I can't want you to succeed more than you do, because that's not going to work. Like that doesn't work. So it's just super amazing that everything's connected, right? Like that I read
Yes.
this and then this, and I'm like, oh my God. So, but this book is really good, and I think it'll help you guys it'll really help with mindset. 100%.
It's not about Jerome Bettis like I thought it was.
I said it in a Slack this morning. I'm like, everybody needs to read this. We need to get on the bus. And he's like, here's a picture of Jerome Bettis. I'm like, not Jerome Bettis. I mean, he could probably carry all of us.
I don't think we could all fit. He's a big boy, but not that big.
What else? I was gonna go over CMAs, but I'm not gonna do that. It's too much. What else do you guys wanna? What else are you gonna do? What are your actions? So Thomas gave us a bunch of actions.
Andrea,
Mine is focusing on just lead gen. I just put it in as general because it depends on the week or if I'm looking at like the month but like, for example, for this upcoming week, it's to reach out to have 3 phone conversations with my friends and then have 1 conversation with someone I haven't talked to maybe in a year. So.
Good.
Yeah. And a question kind of with that too is like the Ford script and stuff, that's easy to have with, people, and like your friends, like for those that you don't really know and maybe like to like acquaintances and stuff, or someone that you meet in an open house, like how do you do you just go right into the real estate talk then?
So, are you talking about the really good lead you got?
Well, no, I'm just saying, or just in general,
In
possibly.
general, I'm at an
yeah.
open house
Yeah.
and
Well, I mean, yes, the thing is the important thing is like when you follow up, right? Like I like to follow up the next day, right? Like, oh, I met you at that open house yesterday and it was so great meeting you, and like whatever the scenario is. So that, like, let's say they said, I don't have an agent, right? And I'd be interested in whatever. So I'd say, it was so great meeting you yesterday. And I just wanted to, now that I've got some time, I wanted to sit down and just talk with you a little bit about what your needs are. So can you tell me a little bit more about, what brought you out to the open house? Right? And then go into that. And the biggest thing is they always say you are in control when you're asking questions.
Mhm.
Right? So always be asking questions and have, you can have that list out of the buyer lead sheet and you've got a lot of stuff in there. And so start asking questions and let them do all the talking, right? Do a ton of listening. And they always feel really good when that happens, right?
one of the things you mentioned about like Ford is one of the reasons Ford is effective is because you already share some commonalities. But if you're talking to a person who you just met in an open house, what do you have in common?
The open house.
Open house.
Mhm.
So what did you think about the house?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about the house? What didn't you like about the house?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What did you think about that terrible green carpet in the bathroom? I mean, right? I mean, don't be afraid. I mean, don't be afraid to throw somebody in the bus if it's going to get you somewhere, right? I mean, that's, what would you have improved? Could you see yourself living in that house? Or, it had 5 bedrooms. Is that something you're looking for? And I mean, ultimately, you can even use that commonality to drive into the Ford conversation, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
5 bedrooms. Wow. What brought you out to a 5-bedroom house? Do you have a big family now, or is it something you're thinking about in the future? Right.
Right.
And then right. So
A
occupation,
detective.
right? So if I'm moving from family, I found out a little bit about your family and think about occupation. Now that house is out in Golden Valley. Do you work around there, or, again, you're just working it in reverse almost, but based on what you have in common.
Yeah. And I found actually we had that whole conversation while he was the only one there. So we had that whole conversation already in person and everything. And I did follow up email and I did call him and it went to like an automated voicemail. So we'll see. He travels for work. So I'm hoping he's just, internationally and somehow doesn't get service.
Well, if I'm traveling internationally and you're calling me, I'm probably not answering you, and I'll call you when I get back.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
don't get worried about it.
Yep. Then that's the other thing is when you don't hear back from somebody, like I would always with the mindset, I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to list with me. Oh my God, they're like, oh my gosh, we had to put our dog down this past week. I'm like, I am such an idiot. Here I am so worried about myself and their dog died. Right. Like, of course they're not going to call me, or they all got COVID, or, like we always tell ourselves a story and it is just that. It is a story.
I'm going to make you a little small here for a minute, and then I'm going to have Jess read something.
It's precisely what kept you from greatness. Arrogance and fear still keep you from learning the simplest and most significant lesson of all. It's not about you.
It's just not about you. Their life is not about yours.
Yeah.
And it's easy to think about it in the context of what you want and what you need. And those are important. They are the most important things. What I want and what I need are the most important things. But to them, what's most important is them.
Yeah. And I have said this, and sometimes I feel kind of like a jerk saying it, but I have said this to agents, PC agents. They're like, well, I don't like this because I think it's going to be this and that. It's like for a golden letter. I looked at him and I said, it's not about you. He's like, oh my God, I guess it's not. It was like about a return address label, right? Like we're having this conversation about that. But that's the thing is people get wrapped up in this stuff and like, well, I can't call this because this is what's going to happen. I'm like, it's not about you. That's not what's gonna happen. You just need to make the call, right?
It's not about- My favorite place in the world, literally, that I've been, so there's a lot of places I haven't been, but my favorite place in the world is the Grand Canyon. If you can be at the Grand Canyon as day turns to night, you have the opportunity to look into a canyon that is wider, if you haven't been there, than you can imagine. I mean, you've seen pictures, but you don't know what that means until you stood on the rim. And you can, if you, depending on where you're at, if you look around and you look down there, if you're lucky and at the right angle, you can see the river that created this canyon. But chances are you can't see it from where you're at. This canyon is so big and so vast, created by a river, that you can't even see the river. And the reason I say as day shifts into night, because then you can look up into the sky, and in Arizona at the Grand Canyon, you can see all of the stars. Not 2 of them, not 7 of them out like your back window right now, all of them. And at that moment, when you can stand there and look into that canyon and look up into the sky, you see exactly how all of your problems and all of your concerns about yourself, they're nigh insignificant in the vastness of time and space that is around you. I mean, that river cut that canyon over time that is unimaginable to you. And space, I mean, how many, I can't, I mean, like right now, we joke about it because we look out in the sky and, oh yeah, stars, all of them 8. When you're in a place where you can truly see the night sky, it is awesome in terms of literally creating awe
Right.
around you. I can't even imagine. And not only are they there, but this isn't even happening right now. What I'm seeing is 10, 15, 20 thousands of years ago is what I'm seeing. It just takes that long for it to get here. And so everything that's out there might actually be gone. Or there could be twice as much. And it's just on its way here now. And that's when you realize, and you think about that, you know that it's not about you anymore. It isn't about you. And yet, it still is.
It's all about you, right?
It is all about you. And how you look at it, how you perceive it, how you make it, and why you're making it the way you are. So that's what matters.
Right, and how, you know, how can you make an impact on the earth? What can you do to make it a better place, right? And that's what's so exciting about it all. It's like there's so much opportunity and to help people and to all the things you can do, and you can impact so many lives by doing real estate, you know? Because if you look back, we call it sourcing your business. If you look back and you're like, well, I had this closing and then I got it from these people and then this was happening here. And then you go back and you're like for me, I was like, I went to a craft show in Rosemont. That's where all this stuff came from, right? I got a closing gift person. I got like 4 transactions. I got, you know, like all these things. I'm like, this is incredible. And that's all the thing. It's not about you, right? You're so good, Jason. Thank you.
I don't know, I put that on there every day because
It's super good. What is it from?
Dr. Strange.
Dr.
Okay,
Strange?
that's it.
Yeah, I was looking for, so who said it?
Danger.
I'm gonna have to watch the movie now.
Have you seen the movie?
Mhm.
It's right before she dies.
Mm.
That is literally her death scene. She stops time so she can watch one last
Yeah.
time.
So good. right, guys, so your homework is going to be, how about we have this, we'll just keep it simple. Thomas and Andrea will be script partners, and Blake and Jenny will be script partners, and you have each other's contact info in the email. And so then you're gonna call each other, you figure out a time, and it's like 10 minutes. And you just basically, you know, ring, ring, and you just go into it. You don't say like, hey, how's it going? Did you get your coffee? Are you tired? Where are you? What are you doing? Doesn't matter, right? And like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, right? And then at the end of that time, you say, okay, what to each other? What are you gonna do in the next day that I can hold you accountable for? And so like Thomas, you're like, I'm gonna call 2 people. Great. All right. Then Andrea says, I'm gonna call 3 people. Great. And then you check on it. How did it go? What, you know, what wins, what struggles did you have? And then do it again. So that's your script practice part. And then the next one is module 3, and it looks kind of identical to the other one, module 2, because it is, but what they want you to do is you're doing a buy-in. So at the bottom of this, you'll notice at module 3 is going to have signature and date. So you're going to commit to doing whatever it is, the stuff that you came up with here, and you're going to think about it a little more deeply, and then commit to it, and then sign it, kind of like a document that you're committing to it. So, and then I want you guys to just, you know, keep a running list of stuff. Like if you have questions about stuff, Blake had asked about CMA, but he's not here, so I'm not going to do that. But if you guys have certain things that you want covered, let me know and we can do that in here and have it be based on work that you need to do. So like,
We don't want to hear about the uncapped well unless you get one.
right. Now, I mean, not to tease Blake, but like, does he need to do a CMA? He probably does not need to do a CMA, right? Is that what he needs to be worrying about right now?
And so that's the market analysis of.
Yep.
So that would be before nobody would ask for that. That'd be like your information you have to have. You're the realtor, you know that.
Yep. No, we do have that. So like the golden letters, when you're sending those out, that's one of the things is when they call you, you can say, yeah, well, are you interested in getting a comparative analysis? Melissa in the open house called it a equity analysis. Are you interested in getting more about that? Yes. Okay, great. And then you set the appointment and you do the work and then you go meet with them.
So an equity analysis is almost kind of saying it like,
It's, yeah.
see how much you can get out of your
Yeah.
house, like how much
Yeah.
money. Yeah, okay.
Definitely
Yeah.
changes. that
More,
script.
yeah, kind of more.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
them feel good about
Yeah.
it.
Because a CMA, comparative market analysis, they're
Well,
like,
And they
what
don't know what
neighbor's
that
house
is. What
worth?
does that mean to them?
Well,
Right.
the other thing,
right.
and I wasn't there for that part of the discussion, but I would suggest, it's a tough market, man. If I sell my house right now, I'm still gonna have to buy another one, right? So even though I'm getting an inflated price for my house, I'm still gonna have to pay an inflated price for a new house. No, you're actualizing your equity.
Right.
You're making your equity real. And that's why an equity thing is such an important thing, because right now, your house being worth whatever it is, that's just imaginary. But if I sold my house for $500,000 and I paid $300,000 for it, right?
Yep.
That's $200,000.
Yep.
Even if I have to buy a house $200,000 more, that's real money.
Right.
That's real money that just is now my money. And now it's in this house. And even if I end up owing the same amount or a little bit more, or I keep my payment the same, I have real equity in this new property
Yep.
versus theoretical
Right.
Yeah.
equity.
Right.
I have realized a real gain. And because taxes are cool like that, you don't have to pay tax money, which is why an equity assessment is a much,
Yeah. Yep.
that's especially in a market like this where I don't know if I didn't spend more, buy more. Yeah. Realize the gain, make
Right.
it real.
Right.
Well, I remember, I had a house and like I'd be going through tough times and I'd be like struggling to pay the mortgage. And I'd get these letters like, oh, we'll give you whatever amount right now. And you'd almost be like, okay, let's do this,
Right.
And so I could see that being a lot more effective for.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Realize the
Absolutely.
gain.
Right.
Put it on the books.
Put it on the books. Anything else, guys?
Not for me.
All right.
Thomas, what's your number?
612-719-9031.
For
9031.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, Andrea, did you see how he just gave it to you? You asked him and he just gave it to you. You didn't ask you.
Right? This
Are we
this number
done?
I've never had to get. All right, bye everyone. Have a good night.
Bye, Andrea.
Have a good one.
Yeah, yay.
I will,
Good things.
I'll text you.
Okay. Yeah, mine turned out too, so.
I'm gonna do a quick look at this. Get your opinion. So her house is this one.
Yep.
And then this one just came out.
Okay, so 329.